they would have to hold to that dominant narrative.
I think for the church to remain strong, it has to reconstruct its narrative. The dominant narrative is not true. It can't be sustained. So the church has to absorb all this new information, or it'll be on very shaky grounds, and that's what it's trying to do. And it'll be a strain for a lot of people, older people especially. But I think it has to change. Elder Packer had this sense of protecting the little people. He felt that the scholars were the enemy to his faith, and it was the grandmothers living in San Pete County. And that was a very lovely pastoral image. But the price of protecting the grandmothers was the loss of the grandsons. They got a story that didn't work. So we just had to change our.
It seems to me because like what you're saying, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I just wonder, we have such a strong tradition of emphasizing the dominant Orthodox narrative, and so how does the church do that without, like you say, like pushing some people away while also introducing the idea that it's okay to experience Mormonism in different ways?
Yeah. The question is, will we leave room to experience Mormonism in different ways, or is our strength the fact that we all hold on to the same tree? We're all under the same tree huggers. I actually am concerned about that, and I think people who have a more progressive view or who are up to date on what's going on, and they know the true version, have to be very sympathetic for people who are having trouble letting go. There just has to be many ways to grow the church. We want them to be sympathetic of us as we struggle along. And it has to be a brotherly and sisterly act. We don't want to break up our community, which is our great strength, the beauty of the church, in the name of finding some abstract truth that works better for each one of us. So it's going to be a struggle for the next, 2 or 3 decades anyway, as we go through this process.
Travis Wingoodsell. So I've been notified that Richard Bushman has come out with a viral feed of him telling Mormons that the church history narrative is wrong and that it needs to be reconstructed. And as a person who pursues science, that's horrifying that he would say such a thing. That we'll just, that's wrong, let's reconstruct it. How about telling the truth? Dear God. And so he's known to us older folks, as the young folks don't seem to know about his rough stone rolling. But he's also chairman of the board, is it? National Advisory Board. Is that for the Joseph Smith Papers Project? Or is that something else? Was an editor for the Joseph Smith Papers Project and now serves on the National Advisory Board. Why national? It didn't make any sense, but anyway, regardless. This guy is involved in a cover-up of church history. He claims to know the truth, as he knows what's not true about the current narrative of church history. But he doesn't suggest telling the truth. He suggests just creating another fabrication that is more deceptively convincing. This guy's an evil man. That's not how you do history. And I've been telling you his book is trash. I've been telling you for a long time. Just this video and reading about him, knowing what he knows, yeah, trash. Nothing but a fraud. The guy has wasted his life. But it's also disturbing that the church knows this, and that the church is perpetuating the fraud. Where he's saying, well, let's create a new fraud. The church is perpetuating the old fraud regardless of knowing the truth. At least the truth about what is lied about. They don't know the truth. The prophets, Bushman, none of them know the truth. They're not interested in knowing the truth. They find documents, it doesn't conform with the current narrative, and so they know the current narrative is wrong, and they just don't care. So the Deseret News interviewed him. What is the state of Joseph Smith studies today, and how has it been changed by the Joseph Smith Papers Project and books like your biography, Joseph Smith, Rough Stone Rolling? Well, the massive change is the adoption of what the Church History Department calls transparency. Not really, just making them available online and publishing them in book form for people to pay is not transparency. It still requires people like me and you to actually dig through them to find the truth, find the documents that are showing that the history is not true. And I've done the videos, you know. Those of you who have watched my videos of the bombshells from the Joseph Smith Papers, 19 July 1840, 17 March 1842, etc., etc., etc. You know, it's me who's doing the presentation of what the church still refuses to, hey, guess what we found? They're continually covering up the truth from the documents. Whereas I'm finding them and going, hey, okay, so great and abominable church, huh? Got it. Joseph Smith knew that Brigham Young was going to be the one to start the great and abominable church, and call it the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And Nelson fulfilled that prophecy when he got up to the pulpit of conference, that one conference. Got it. But you guys aren't getting it. And this little, I don't know who it is, from Twitter, they're clueless as to who this guy is. It's like something new. Oh my goodness, the church isn't true. They had all caps on their thing and blah, blah, blah. And he says that the transparency means, and that is a willingness to seriously consider critical works about Joseph Smith. Because this was the previous attitude of the prophets previous to this point. At one point, we just dismissed them as the works of wicked men, fabrications. 19 July 1840. He's right. They were dismissed by wicked men. Called fabrications. For a reason. And he's saying here But every historical source has terrible biases in it. There's no avoiding a bias. Yeah, there is. Science. Hello? Dear God. And so, yeah, he's confessing his rough stone rolling is biased material. Like I said, a fraud. And yet you have ex-Mormons going, we got him! We got the church! Down goes the church! No, he's doing exactly what September 6th did when I did that video for you. They tried to apologize for the church with the new information. He's doing nothing different than what the September 6th did. And he's just saying, let it go. Continue with the cover-up. And so we, Mormons, who know that the church isn't true, are just going to continue to perpetuate the lie, like the prophets are. And until the prophets come out and confess, we are going to follow the prophets' examples and perpetuate the lie about church history. You'll notice my videos are different. And I've been telling you they're different, and nobody believes me. And this comes out, and everybody goes bonkers over this guy, and are clueless that I've already been telling them the real church history, explaining it, because he's not interested. The church isn't interested in searching and figuring out the real church history. They don't care. They're just going to move on. And it's going to be a sacred secret now for the elite Mormons. You know, church isn't true. And that's the attitude I got when I was at the Church History Museum and talking about the plates. I had told them that I deciphered the Book of Abraham. I translated it. And they feigned interest and excitement. And I was going to hold a lecture about it, and they wanted my information, and I gave them my information and all that, and nothing. There was they had no interest in it. They thought I was wrong, that I couldn't possibly know how to translate the Book of Abraham correctly to show that Joseph Smith is a translator. That's what he and the prophets are perpetuating here. That the narrative is wrong, and we're not going to come out and search for the truth, and it's just going to be a sacred secret, and we're going to continue to lie to people to bring them into the church. And you wonder why there's so many millions who have left? Dear God, this is how the millions have left the church. It's because of this attitude. And I did this Sociology of Mormonism video this morning of the fall of the church. Yeah. The church did things that under normal circumstances should have benefited the church. Put a positive spin on the perception of the church. Help the Mormons learn about the church. And instead, it's all been a lie. And so they're just perpetuating the lie with the system that they devised, and it is backfiring and is about to be completely and utterly gone. That's how bad things are in the church when I went over that video with you this morning. So, it's horrifying. They just don't care. So